NFL Week 2 has come and gone. Can the reigning conference champions get back on course after brutal losses last week? The AFC North teams battle each other this week. Who went 2-0 and who went 0-2? And can Bryce Young, the only rookie QB to win last week, start his career off at 2-0? All these questions and more are going to be answered coming up here on Tecmo Rewind. Hello and welcome to Tecmo Rewind. I'm your host Joe, here to bring you all your highlights from around the league. Week 2 of the Tecmo NFL season is in the books, and while it's still too early to tell, always good for those 2-0 teams to get a good head start. Whereas if you're one of those 0-2 teams, it doesn't necessarily mean you're out, but it does mean you do have a long year ahead of you, and possibly an uphill battle if you want to get into the playoffs or even win the Super Bowl. But we've had teams start off 0-2 and then go on to win the Super Bowl before. But that is for another time. We'll see how things go as the league goes on for the rest of the season. For now, let's start our highlights with our game of the week. The Indianapolis Colts taking on the Houston Texans, their division rivals. Matt Gay will score first for the Colts, a 52-yard field goal. It's 3-0 at the start of the game. Then, Stroud on his first drive of the game looks to his left, throws for Dalton Schultz. He finds Julian Blackmon instead. But on the Colts' next drive, Derek Stingley is going to break through that offensive line and get to Anthony Richardson. A 10-yard sack. That forces the Colts to settle for this 44-yard field goal by Matt Gay. It is now 6-0 Indianapolis. However, at the end of the first quarter, Dameon Pierce is going to get handed the ball. He's going to zig and zag around the Colts defense, make it a 7-6 Texans lead. Start of the second quarter, Richardson looks to his left for Josh Downs. He instead finds Jalen Peter. However, on the Texans' next drive, C.J. Stroud's going to get taken down by Zaire Franklin. They're forced to punt, but the Colts are deep in their own territory. Richardson with the play action rolls to his left, but the offensive line breaks down yet again. Christian Harris gets the sack. On the very next play, Richardson's deep in his own end zone when Denzel Perryman takes him down. He's now 6-9. Pretty nice lead for the Texans, however. Zaire Franklin's going to wrap up and take down C.J. Stroud to prevent them from making that lead any bigger. That forces the Colts to get the ball back, and they get a drive deep into Texans territory. As Richardson throws for Michael Pittman Jr. in the back of the end zone, it's 13-9 Colts. But at the very end of the first half, Stroud's going to look for and find Robert Woods for a 52-yard touchdown. It's 16-13 going into the half. To start the second half, Stroud looks for Woods again. Can he again? Will he again? Could he again? He will not again, but it's a 60-yard catch, and that sets up the 17-yard touchdown pass to Nico Collins. Texans take a 10-point lead. On the ensuing kickoff, Dallas Flowers wants to show that Dameon Pierce isn't the only one who can zig and zag around people trying to take him down. This is a 49-yard kick return, and this goes into shallow Texans territory. However, on the ensuing drive, the Colts are sent back barely into their own territory on a 4-yard sack. They do get the first down and drive down the field a little bit. However, Christian Harris gets another sack. The defenses for both of these teams were the real MVPs. Richardson is going to try and run a little forward. However, he's going to get sacked 1 yard. That forces them to settle for a Matt Gay 59-yard field goal. It's 23-16 Texans. Fourth quarter, Jaime Fairbairn says, I can make some pretty good kicks too. A 53-yard field goal makes it 26-16 Texans. Then, Richardson gets wrapped up and taken down by Sheldon Rankins. And then on the very next play, it's fourth down. Richardson with the play action. Offensive line breaks down yet again. Christian Harris gets the 9-yard sack at the turnover on downs. It takes the Texans 3 plays. They're pushed back each time, but Dameon Pierce gets a 5-yard touchdown run to make it 33-16. Then, Christian Harris. The Texans really needed him to really bully Anthony Richardson all day today. However, C.J. Stroud throws a pick for Julian Blackmon to take yet again. However, Christian Harris was not done. A 10-yard sack pushes the Colts back even further. Anthony Richardson then just decides, I'm going to take him myself. A 1-yard touchdown run. They try for the onside kick, but unfortunately the Texans will take it. So there goes any chance that the Colts had of winning. And then just to add insult to injury, Dameon Pierce is going to run this one in from a 21-yard outer. They kept trying to tackle him, but he just broke every tackle in his way. 40-26, the Texans are going to take the win and go to 1-1. They get to go to Jacksonville next week whereas the Colts have to head down to Baltimore. They drop to 0-2. Meanwhile, from a battle of 0-1 to a battle of 1-0, the Chargers take on the Titans. First quarter, first drive for the Titans. Eric Kendricks is going to wrap up and sack Tannehill. That'll lead to a punt that the Chargers will capitalize on with a pass to the back of the end zone for Keenan Allen Jr. It's 7-0 Chargers. On the ensuing drive, Derwin James Jr. is going to pick off Ryan Tannehill. However, on the Chargers' next drive, Justin Herbert is going to get wrapped up and sacked by Jeffrey Simmons. He got pressure from the defense all game today. But that's alright because Austin Eckler is fast and he'll make a 12-yard touchdown run, 14-0 Chargers. Ensuing drive for the Titans, Tannehill's going to get sacked by Eric Kendricks. And then he's going to get sacked by Eric Kendricks again, this time in the end zone. It's 16-0 Chargers. Darius Davis on the ensuing kickoff return, he is going to take this into Titans territory and then some. He's going to get deep into Tennessee territory on a 44-yard kick return. Second quarter, Herbert is going to run forward a little bit and get caught by Harold Landry III, but on the next play, he's just going to look to the left, throw for Keenan Allen. He's going to dive and catch a 23-yard touchdown. It's 23-0. On the ensuing drive for the Titans, Tannehill looks and fires for Treylon Burks, but unfortunately, he's only going to find J.C. Jackson. He's going to intercept it. On the Chargers' drive, Herbert is going to get pressured once again. He's going to get wrapped up, and then he's taken out by Danico Autry for an 8-yard sack. They're forced to settle for an Eric Dicker, the kicker, 42-yard field goal. It's 26-0 Chargers. Tyjae Spears, however, will make sure the Titans don't get shut out with his 2-yard touchdown run. It's 26-7. On the ensuing drive, though, Darius Davis isn't done yet. This one is going to be a 46-yard kick return that gets to just short of midfield exactly. And that'll help lead to this 11-yard touchdown catch by Mike Williams. It's 33-7 going into the half. Then Chargers get the ball back first in the second half. Keenan Allen will get this amazing-looking throw from 7 yards out. It's 40-7. Then Tannehill's going to hand it off to Spears, who is not Derrick Henry, so he fumbles the ball. And it's going to get picked up, scoop, and score by Asante Samuel Jr., 14 yards. It's 47-7. Treylon Burks, though, he is not going to let this game go down easily. A 50-yard catch that helps to set up this 24-yard pass. DeAndre Hopkins, it's 47-14. However, the Chargers have a good player of their own to catch balls. This time it's Gerald Everett. Herbert was pretty generous all around today. Gerald Everett will make a 55-yard catch that'll lead to this Dicker the kicker 26-yard field goal. It looks like it might go wide, but it doinks in. It's 50-14. However, Ryan Tannehill is not done yet today. He's still got some fight left in him. He throws to his right for DeAndre Hopkins. Can he? Could he? Will he? 1, 2, 3 tackles dodged as Hopkins makes it a 78-yard touchdown catch. It's 50-21, and Herbert is going to get taken down by Arden Key, back 2 yards. So they'll force to settle for a 32-yard Dicker the kicker field goal. It's 53-21. On the ensuing kickoff for the Titans, Karis Jackson is going to get the ball. He's going to get wrapped up and taken down at about the 24. And unfortunately, he's going to be hurt on this. So that means they're forced to bring in Julius Chestnut. But they do get a drive going. And while he may not be Derrick Henry, Tyjae Spears still wants to show he can be just as good of a runner, or at the very least, a decent replacement until he comes back. It's a 53-28 game. Titans try the onside kick and it's recovered by the kicker, Nick Folk. But Titans get sacked by Eric Kendricks. And then Eric Kendricks gets another 9-yard sack right after the first one. Turnover on downs. Don't worry, though. Azeez Al-Shaair will get in on the Titans' sacking day for a 10-yard sack. That makes it an Eric Dicker 34-yard field goal, 56-28. The Titans do still have some life in them. They're still playing for pride. Tannehill is going to roll to his right and throw for DeAndre Hopkins just in time. It's a diving catch, but the Chargers are catching up to him. And unfortunately, that's going to be the last play of the game. 56-28, Chargers will go to 2-0. They get to go to Minnesota next week. Titans head to Cleveland on a 1-1 record. And now we go from deep down south to up and mile high. Terry McLaurin's back for the Washington Commanders as they take on the Denver Broncos. First quarter, first possession for Denver. Wilson's going to play action, roll to his right, and he's going to find the best target Denver has for him, Jerry Jeudy, who is an amazing player, and he's going to make this into Washington territory, and that will help set up this Javonte Williams 4-yard touchdown run, 7-0 Broncos strike first. On the ensuing kickoff, Antonio Gibson is going to take this to about the 27 before he fumbles it, and it's recovered by Damari Mathis. That will help set up this pass from Russell Wilson to Courtland Sutton, who's just going to stroll into the end zone. 14-0 Denver. Commanders do get the ball back finally on the ensuing kickoff, but Sam Howell is wrapped up and taken down by B.J. Jones. That offensive line was a weak spot for the Commanders last year, and unfortunately, the defense for the Broncos is not done. Howell tries to adjust, but he gets caught and wrapped up and taken down by Alex Singleton. That forces them to rely on a Joey Sly 55-yard field goal, but he does make it, so it's 14-3 Broncos. On the ensuing drive, Wilson, well, he has a tough defense to face as well. It's Cody Barton. He gets the sack and forces the Broncos to punt. However, Brian Robinson Jr. fumbles the ball on the ensuing drive and is picked up by Josie Jewell. That will help lead to this. Wilson looking, fires for Jerry Jeudy deep downfield. There is no question about it. He is gone. Not a Commander in sight. It's 20-3. And on the kickoff return, Gibson. Well, he's making up for last time by turning on the Jets. 35-yard kick return. However, on the ensuing drive, Howell throws for Terry McLaurin. Instead, it gets picked off by Pat Surtain. And that will lead to this 6-yard reception from Russell Wilson to Courtland Sutton. It's now 28-3, but that's a dangerous score, as Falcons fans know. But, unfortunately, that offensive line still not very good for Washington. Damari Mathis gets the 12-yard sack. They're forced to punt, and that lets Russell Wilson throw for Jerry Jeudy. Deep in the end zone, but it's picked off by Derek Forrest to end the half. Third quarter, Randy Gregory is going to get right to Sam Howell, but that's alright, because on the very next play, Howell's got a target of his own. That's not McLaurin, it's Jahan Dotson, the second-year receiver from Penn State. 45-yard touchdown makes it 28-10. But Broncos score back with Javonte Williams' 1-yard touchdown run. It's 35-10. Howell then gets sacked back 10 yards by Josie Jewell. That lets the Broncos get the ball, and they got a 35-yard field goal from Will Lutz. It's 38-10. Fourth quarter, desperation time for Washington. Howell, who's he look for? Jahan Dotson, his fellow 2022 player. 54-yard touchdown, it's 38-17. Commanders will get the onside kick. Could they do what the Dolphins did and more last week? Well, not if Joey Sly kicks like this. A doinker. 43-yarder missed. However, Courtland Sutton was supposed to get this. Instead, it goes to Kendall Fuller, and that leads to this 20-yard touchdown pass from Sam Howell to who else? Scary Terry! He gets a nice touchdown. It's 38-24. Cody Barton then sacks Russell Wilson back 10 yards. And then later on, the strip sack of Russell Wilson is going to get picked up by, I believe that's Daron Payne. So that means there's still life for the Commanders. Well, not if B.J. Jones sacks Sam Howell. But it's fourth down. Do they still have life in him? Curtis Samuel certainly thinks so, and he'll get the first down. And that allows the Commanders, Sam Howell looking for Scary Terry. He gets the touchdown from 22 yards out. Can they do it? Can they get the next onside kick? They can! The Commanders still have life. Handoff is to Brian Robinson Jr. He's got to get out of bounds. They don't have timeouts. 2nd and 3. Howell gonna hand it off to Robinson again, but he's running out of time. He's got like one play left. Howell, what's he gonna do? He's gonna hand it off to Robinson. Can he make the run of his life? He's gonna break 2 tackles, but he can't break the third. The Denver Broncos are gonna win this 38-31. Both teams go to 1-1. Commanders get Buffalo. Denver gets Miami in an amazing game from both teams. And now we go to the battles of the AFC North, starting with the 1-0 versus 1-0 Ravens versus Bengals. First quarter, Mark Andrews is going to take this 11-yard touchdown in, 7-0. Roquan Smith's going to get 11 yards of his own on a sack of Joe Burrow. But that's all right, because later on, Burrow is going to connect with Jamar Chase for a 6-yard touchdown. Unfortunately, the Evan McPherson extra point, it's blocked, so it's 7-6. Second quarter, Lamar Jackson, he's got legs, Cincy. You got to remember that. It's 14-6 Baltimore. Bengals forced to punt on their next drive, but on the Ravens' next drive, B.J. Hill gets a 7-yard sack. Unfortunately, does not slow down the Ravens at all, as J.K. Dobbins will run this in from 10 yards out on a run, 21-6. Justin Matabike, however, he wants to get in on the sacking game as he gets a sack of Joe Burrow, sending him back 4 yards. However, Burrow then hooks up with his favorite target, Jamar Chase, his fellow LSU Tiger. 21-13 now. On the Ravens' next drive, Lamar tries to run forward, but DJ Reader connects with him. 2-yard sack. Ravens do get a drive downfield. Handoffs to J.K. Dobbins, and he's going to run into a fumble picked up by Jermaine Pratt. Start of the second half, Chris Evans, not the actor who played Captain America, but the returner for the Bengals. He's going to take this one 44 yards. And that will help set up this Joe Mixon 4-yard touchdown run. It's 21-20 Baltimore. Baltimore on their next drive, Lamar Jackson tries to run with it. Unfortunately, he gets strip sacked, and Cam Taylor is going to take it as a scoop and score. 17-yard run in, 27-21 Cincinnati. B.J. Hill's not done with his sacking. He's going to get a 7-yard sack. That, unfortunately, will not stop the Ravens, but they will have to settle for a 31-yard field goal from Justin Tucker. It's 27-24. Then, Burrow hooks up with T. Higgins. Sometimes you gotta remember T. Higgins is just as much of a threat as Jamar Chase, a 50-yard catch. However, on the very next play, Broderick Washington's gonna break through that offensive line of Cincinnati's to sack Joe Burrow. That'll force him to settle for a 44-yard field goal by Evan McPherson, not blocked this time. It's 30-24 Cincinnati. Fourth quarter comes. Lamar Jackson tries to run forward a little bit to get better advantage point, but B.J. Hill gets to him, an 8-yard sack. That forces them to have to rely on a 58-yard Justin Tucker field goal, but it's Justin Tucker, so he makes it. 30-27. Michael Pierce then will get the sack on Joe Burrow here. And on the very next play, Burrow going to drop back again and run forward, but Roquan Smith is waiting for him. And Bengals fans, please turn away if you don't want to see this. Joe Burrow is hurt. He is down. It's flashbacks to 2020 all over again. Jake Browning is going to come in to replace him this time. However, Browning still does enough to get a good drive going, but Kyle Hamilton gets the pass meant for Irv Smith Jr. in the end zone. Then, Ravens forced to punt. Roquan Smith's going to get to Browning. That'll force the Bengals to settle for a field goal from Evan McPherson. 43 yards out, it's 33-27. Ravens still have a shot. Jackson's going to head up. He's going to run with it. He's got plenty of room to run, but does he have enough time? He gets into Cincinnati territory. Next play, Jackson throws for Andrews. He gets it, but he's piled on. They don't have much time. One last play. Jackson, play action, rolling to his left, throwing for Andrews. He is way off target. The Bengals are going to win this one 33-27. They're 2-0, but it's a Pyrrhic 2-0. They have to take on the Rams in a rematch of Super Bowl 56 next week. Will Joe Burrow be healthy is the question. Ravens get Indianapolis. Now to the other AFC North battle of 0-1 Browns and Steelers. First quarter, Chris Boswell is going to kick this one in from 20 yards out. It's 3-0 Steelers on the board first. Then, Jerome Ford is going to take this one from the end zone to about the 31-yard line, and he is hurt. So that means Pierre Strong Jr. is the next kick returner up for the Browns. They'll get a good drive going. However, later on in the drive, Deshaun Watson's offensive line will fail him, and Alex Highsmith is going to get the sack. But that's all right. They keep pushing. And Nick Chubb, where would the Browns be without you, my friend? That is a 16-yard touchdown run. It's 7-3 Cleveland. Pickett then looks and fires for Pickens. He is deep downfield. He's already in Cleveland territory. Can he? Could he? Will he? He's going to take this one to be fumbled and recovered by Martin Emerson Jr. He's going to take it back the other way. Unfortunately, Cleveland couldn't really do anything with it. So the Steelers get the ball back, and Pickett's going to throw for his favorite target from last week, Deontay Johnson. It's 10-7 Pittsburgh. We've got a good game going here. Then, Watson Play action. Looking for Amari Cooper downfield. He's going to find him. Can he? Will he? Could he? He won't. But he gets into the red zone, and that helps to set up this Nick Chubb 12-yard touchdown run. Breaking a tackle and dodging two more. It's 14-10 Cleveland. Then Pickett, running for his life, throws for Pickens again. This time, no one's going to catch him. A 38-yard touchdown, 17-14. But the Browns strike back at the end of the half. David Njoku, a 3-yard touchdown catch, 21-17 Cleveland. Third quarter, Harris is going to fumble the ball. It's going to get recovered by Juan Thornhill, who almost makes it a scoop and score. That's all right. Nick Chubb is here, and he is going to run this in from 2 yards out. It's 28-17 Cleveland. Then, Steelers can't do anything with the ball. They are forced to punt. Watson gets sacked by Alex Highsmith yet again, but they still get a drive going pretty deep, and Watson just tosses it to Chubb, runs in from 1 yard out, 35-17. Myles Garrett's then going to get a sack on Kenny Pickett, and that will lead to Pickett running for his life. He gets a few extra yards past the line of scrimmage, but it's fumbled and recovered by Jordan Elliott. And that will help lead to this Amari Cooper 15-yard reception from Watson. Touchdown, Browns. It's now 42-17. On the next Steelers drive, they do get pretty deep in the Cleveland territory, but Jordan Elliott's going to get a running Kenny Pickett. But that's all right, because Pickett's just going to hook up with Pickens again, deep in the end zone, 3-yard touchdown, 42-24 going into the fourth quarter. But later on, pretty early in the fourth quarter, Cooper, deep end zone, touchdown, Browns, 49-24 Cleveland. Then, Pickett looks for Najee Harris, finds Greg Newsome II. What was that? He was covered. Well, it's good for Cleveland. That'll lead to a 1-yard touchdown run by Nick Chubb, 56-24. But that's all right, because Deontay Johnson is just as good of a receiver. He didn't have any trouble today. It's now 56-31. But then, Cleveland gets a drive deep downfield for Nick Chubb to run this in 3 yards. It's 63-31. And Myles Garrett's just going to sack Kenny Pickett to end this. 63-31. Cleveland takes the lead over Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh starting 0-2. How rare of a sentence is that? While Cleveland goes to 1-1. Cleveland gets to take on Tennessee, while Pittsburgh has to head to Las Vegas. Now from the AFC North to the AFC East, the Dolphins taking on the Patriots. First quarter, Mac Jones gets sacked by Raekwon Davis back 13 yards. And then it's going to happen again. This time for about 9 yards. But he does get a drive going that allows him to toss this one to Ramondre Stevenson. Patriots strike first, it's 7-0. Then next drive for the Patriots. Now it's Christian Wilkins' turn to get the sacks on him. First a 5-yarder. And then, after a little bit of a struggle, he comes in with an 8-yard sack. But again, Mac Jones drives down the field. Plenty of time here. He looks and throws to his right. Juju Smith-Schuster gets it in the back of the end zone. It's 14-0 Patriots. Second quarter, well, now it's Tua's turn to get a bunch of sacks on him. Marcus Jones gets a 3-yard sack. And then, on the very next play, this time, it's Dietrich Wise. They're forced to punt. Patriots drive down the field and have to settle for a 27-yard field goal by Chad Ryland. 17-0 New England. But then, Tua channels his inner Week 1 Jared Goff, bumps into, I guess, a Patriots defensive man, throws for Durham Smythe, a 53-yard reception, and that helps lead to this. Tua, play action, throws to his left for Tyreek Hill, the former Chief. 29-yard touchdown pass at 17-7. Patriots can't do anything with their next drive, so Dolphins drive down the field, get a 13-yard touchdown pass to Tyreek Hill at 17-14. End of the quarter, Chad Ryland's field goal from 55 yards is blocked. It's picked up by Cole Strange, the lineman. Unfortunately, while he does essentially get close to the first down, it's not enough at the end of the quarter and a half. Third quarter, Raheem Mostert gets a pass. 29-yard touchdown. It's 21-17 Miami. Mac Jones rolls forward, but gets wrapped up by Jerome Baker for a 2-yard sack. They're forced to punt. Then, a throw that was apparently meant for Jalen Waddle gets intercepted by Jabril Peppers. But on the very next play, Mac Jones is sacked by Jalen Phillips, and he's hurt. Just like last year, The backup has to come in for New England, and once again, it's the Bailey Zappi show for the New England Patriots. They drive down the field a little bit, but they have to rely on a Chad Ryland field goal. Unfortunately, this one is wide right on a 53-yarder. But Patriots do get it back, but this pass for Ramondre Stevenson is intercepted by Javon Holland instead to end the third quarter, deep into New England territory for the Dolphins. That helps set up this Jason Sanders 23-yarder. It's 24-17 Miami. However, Patriots, fourth down situation, looking for a deep ball for Parker. He can't get it, and it's a turnover on downs. However, Tagovailoa gets sacked by Devon Godchow. That forced them to have to settle for this Jason Sanders 25-yard field goal that doinks in 27-17 Dolphins. Fourth down for the Patriots again. Ramondre Stevenson breaks quite a few tackles, but this time gets the first down on an 8-yard run. But David Long gets a sack on the Patriots. And then on the very next play, Stevenson's run is instead a fumble recovered by David Long, so the Dolphins get the ball back. But on the very next play for the Dolphins, a pass that was meant for Raheem Mostert picked off by Christian Gonzalez. He gets deep in the Dolphins' territory, and Bailey Zappi just needs to throw this one, hope it gets to Juju Smith-Schuster. Instead, gets to Xavier Howard of the Dolphins. Miami comes away with the comeback win on this one, 27-17. They take on the Denver Broncos at home next week. They're 1-1. New England also 1-1. They get to head to New York to take on the Jets. Now for an 0-1 battle. Bears taking on the Buccaneers in Tampa, first quarter. Baker Mayfield looks and fires for Chris Godwin. Gets a nice 52-yard catch deep into Chicago territory that helps set up this Rachaad White 7-yard touchdown run. 7-0 Buccaneers get first blood. But then, Bears on their first drive. Justin Fields rolls to his left, throws for Cole Kmet. He gets in on a 15-yarder. Fortunately, it's 7-6 because Cairo Santos' extra point is blocked by the Bucs. On the Bucs' next drive, Mayfield does get a drive going deep into Bears territory, but he's sacked by Yannick Ngakoue for 7 yards. However, Mayfield looks and finds Godwin yet again. A 17-yard touchdown. It's 14-6 Tampa. On the next Bears drive, Fields rolling to his left. Looks for Chase Claypool, who they got from the Steelers last year on a trade. Instead, he overthrows him by a good amount and finds Jamel Dean, who takes this one into Chicago territory. And that just helps to set up this Rachaad White 10-yard touchdown run. It's now 21-6 Tampa Bay. Now we go into the second quarter. Fields. Well, he's got legs. Sometimes he doesn't get to use them, but he does here. A 13-yard touchdown run. It's 21-13. But on the Buccaneers' next drive, Mayfield looks for who else? Chris Godwin. Can he? Could he? Will he? He will not. Just short of it. But 71-yard catch helps lead to this 5-yard touchdown run by Rachaad White. It's 28-13. Fields then gets to run with the ball yet again. A 14-yard touchdown. It's 28-20. However, Buccaneers strike right back with an Evans touchdown from 38 yards out. It's 35-20 Tampa going into halftime. Third quarter, Justin Fields. Well, they got that guy from Carolina that they got for the first overall pick. It's DJ Moore, and Moore is going to get used today with a 54-yard catch here. And that helps to set up this. Justin Fields has men in motion, looking and fires to his left, and he finds Carlton Davis of the Buccaneers. That's not what you're supposed to do, Justin. A few plays later, Mike Evans, he fumbles it, but it's picked up by Tristan Wirfs of the Buccaneers, so they're still good. And that helps lead Rachaad White to a 17-yard touchdown run. It's 42-20 Tampa Bay. On the ensuing drive for the Bears, Jones is going to take this one to about the 30. It's about 30 yards anyway since he was in his own end zone. But then Fields, he tried to drop back and roll to his left. Unfortunately, he finds Joe Tryon, and then he does it again, Joe Tryon, with a 4-yard sack after a 10-yard sack. But Justin Fields looking patiently. Offensive line gives him time to find DJ Moore in the back of the end zone. It's 42-27 Tampa Bay. Fourth quarter, literally first play, Mayfield gets sacked by TJ Edwards. But it's all right. They're able to drive down long enough for Chase McLaughlin to doink a 49-yard field goal. So Bears get the ball back. And once again, Justin Fields rolls to his left. Not as much time this time, but he still finds DJ Moore. A 40-yard touchdown. It's 42-34. Bears still have a chance, but Mayfield, oh wait, never mind. Tremaine Edmonds gets the interception on what was meant to be Colt Keith's catch. So the Bears still have a chance, but it's 4th down. Men in motion. Fields looks for Claypool. He can't get him. He overthrows him, and instead it's a turnover on downs. Mayfield just gonna look, wait, look, fire. It's Godwin. Chris Godwin. There is no one anywhere even close to him. A 75-yard touchdown pretty much puts its weight. It's 49-34. Well, Bears still do have some time, but I don't know if they got it. But if DJ Moore's 22-yard touchdown is anything, they might. Unfortunately, they can't do much with it. They're still down by 8. They lose 49-41. They get Kansas City next week in Kansas City as they drop to 0-2. Tampa goes up to 1-1. They get Philadelphia. How will they handle the 2 conference champions? Well, let's see what they'll do next week. In the meantime, the Lions, who beat the reigning Super Bowl champs, they take on Seattle this week. First quarter. First play, literally. Khalif Raymond takes this one out 32 yards. And that leads to Goff hooking up with Amon-Ra St. Brown. No one's going to catch him. A 43-yard touchdown. Lions strike first. It's 7-0. Then, Geno Smith, surprise player from last week, looks for Jackson Smith-Njigba, instead finds C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And that lets Goff once again hook up with Amon-Ra St. Brown, his best weapon. Another touchdown. It's 23 yards out this time, and it's 14-0 Lions. But Smith's got a weapon of his own. DK Metcalf. It's a 19-yard touchdown. It's 14-7 Lions. But then Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown is his favorite target all day today. Dodges a tackle after having to dive for this football, and he gets this one on 55-yarder. It's 21-7 Detroit. But DK Metcalf, you know, he was a former basketball player in college. He's a tall man, and he's just as quick as he is tall. 78-yarder, 21-14 going into the second quarter. Jared Goff dropping back, and Bobby Wagner finds him before he can find anyone else. But that's all right. They still get a good drive going, and this time it's Brock Wright who gets the football. 28-14. Lions still have a 2-score lead. Then Smith looks for who else is he going to find? DK Metcalf, a diving catch, which might as well give them an extra 2 or 3 yards. That gives Smith a chance to hook up with another receiver, Tyler Lockett, who's going to take this one from 33 yards out. It is now 28-21 Lions. Then on the ensuing kickoff, Khalif Raymond is going to take this one out 37 yards to about the 35. That helps to set up this Riley Patterson field goal. It's 31-21 Detroit. So Seahawks just give it to Kenneth Walker III, who runs in from about a yard out. It's 31-28. But Jared Goff, he's got some time before halftime. Looks for Reynolds, and he finds Jamal Adams instead. As we go into halftime, DJ Dallas says, hey, I can make a good return too. Lions defense says, no, you can't. And for added insult to injury, it's DJ Dallas who gets hurt this time. At least Seattle's able to use that as a rallying point for a 37-yard touchdown pass to Jackson Smith-Njigba. It's 35-31 Seahawks. Lions' next drive stalls, unfortunately. Then Smith looks for Smith-Njigba, finds Brian Branch, the rookie, who gets the pick. Jared Goff is looking for another target, but Bobby Wagner gets to him again on a 9-yard sack. But that's all right, because a few plays later, he looks and fires for Josh Reynolds, who is going to take this one in without anyone around him. 38-35 Lions. On the ensuing kickoff, Zach Charbonnet instead fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by C.J. Gardner-Johnson. However, Goff tries to run forward to try and find better options. Instead finds Jordan Brooks waiting for him, who stacks him, and that helps the Seahawks mitigate the scoring to just a 32-yard field goal from Riley Patterson. It's 41-35 Detroit. However, Seattle, Geno Smith gets strip sacked and it's picked up by Phil Haynes as we go into the fourth quarter. Goff looking for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Does he have another one in him? He dodges one tackle and just outside the end zone, he's taken down. But that's all right. Jahmyr Gibbs going to punch it in from 2 yards out. 48-35 Lions. Then Kenneth Walker III gets tossed the ball, and he just runs it in 15 yards. 48-42 now. Then Goff going to try and run it himself. No, he throws. And it's for Amon-Ra St. Brown once again. He gets wrapped up a little bit short of the red zone. That's all right, because Goff, in shotgun formation, looks and fires for Josh Reynolds. Reynolds deep in the back of the end zone, a 36-yard touchdown. It's 55-42. Then Isaiah Buggs is going to get to Geno Smith on an 8-yard sack. But Geno Smith, plenty of time. Well, maybe not as much time as he would have liked, but he still gets one to Tyler Lockett, who's going to take this one 50 yards and get just shy of the touchdown. So Smith just hand it off to Kenneth Walker. 2-yard touchdown run, 55-49. They got to go for the onside kick, but they don't recover. And just to add on more points, a Jahmyr Gibbs 10-yard touchdown catch. Lions win this one 62-49, avenging last year's loss to the same Seahawks team. They go up to 2-0 and get to take on the Atlanta Falcons next week, whereas Seattle, they go back home and they take on the Carolina Panthers and rookie Bryce Young. Meanwhile, the Falcons are taking on a different NFC North team this week than what they're playing next week. They're taking on the Green Bay Packers. First quarter, Jordan Love hooks up with Christian Watson, who dodges 2 tackles. That's probably his favorite target on Green Bay right now. It's 7-0 Packers. Then, Desmond Ridder throws to Bijan Robinson. He finds Rudy Ford, who's going to get to just short of the end zone. That sets up this Jordan Love 7-yard touchdown pass to who else? Christian Watson. 14-0 Green Bay takes the lead. On the ensuing kickoff for the Falcons, Cordero Patterson gets to about the 26 and is hurt. So that means D. Alford is going to come in for kick returns, just like he does for punt returns. But they get a drive going at least. Man in motion for Atlanta. Ridder with the play action, rolls to his right, running for his life, throws for Drake London. Overthrows him a little, but London's able to dive for the touchdown catch. It's 14-7 now, Green Bay. Second quarter, Love looks to his right and throws for Romeo Doubs. He's going to take this one in 21 yards. It's 21-7. On the ensuing kickoff, D. Alford on his first kick return since Cordero Patterson got hurt. Fumbles the ball, but Drew Dahlman is there to recover it. He's going to get to about the 27. Then, Ridder going to try for Robinson again. This time he finds Darnell Savage for the pick. So maybe don't throw to Bijan Robinson, just saying. Grady Jarrett is going to wrap up Jordan Love, who tried to get a better angle on this one, but that's alright because on the next play, he looks to his left and he finds Christian Watson. A 16-yard touchdown, it's 28-7 Green Bay. Then, well, if it worked once, says Desmond Ridder, maybe it'll work again. Rolls to his right and throws for Drake London, who leaps up to catch this one, dodges the tackle, breaks the second one. The third time's the charm for the Green Bay defense. Still a 60-yard catch, pretty dang good. So Ridder throws for London again and finds Jair Alexander in the end zone waiting for him. But Jordan Love looks for his favorite target, Christian Watson, and instead finds A.J. Terrell of the Falcons. So Atlanta gets the ball back. 2nd and 8. Ridder hands the ball off to Bijan Mustard Robinson, the rookie out of Texas. Don't mess with Texas, says Bijan as he scores it in from 41 yards out. It's 28-14. We go to the second half now. Ridder gets the ball first for the Falcons in the second half, and he's wrapped up by Rashawn Gary. So that leads to Younghoe Koo having to make a 41-yard field goal. He does. It's 28-17 Green Bay. Emmanuel Wilson on the ensuing kickoff. I'm going to take this from about the 3, and he's going to instead get to the 45-yard line of the Falcons. It's a 54-yard kick return. Later on in the drive, Love looking to his right, throws over the middle and finds Luke Musgrave, who dodges 2 tackles. They come back, but he dodges one and breaks the tackle of the other, so he gets a touchdown. It's now 35-17 Green Bay. Ridder hands off to Tyler Algier. He's going to fumble the ball, but it's going to get secured by someone on Atlanta. Unfortunately, they can't score with it. Love then throws for Watson, and instead he finds Jesse Bates in the end zone. So the Falcons get the ball back yet again. They're in Packers territory, and T.J. Slayton wraps up Ridder and takes him down. So 3-yard sack, However, Ritter's still able to drive down the field and gives a handoff to Bijan Robinson, who runs it in for 4 yards out. It's 35-24. They're still down by 11. Unfortunately, A.J. Dillon is going to get hurt for Green Bay after a 2-yard run. So that means Emmanuel Wilson is going to come in for running plays. However, Aaron Jones is going to run this one in from 2 yards out. So that's a touchdown for Green Bay. Next drive, Ritter gets taken out from behind by T.J. Slayton, a 4-yard sack. However, it's 4th down. He tosses to Bijan Robinson. Robinson, he's going to run this one for 20 yards and get the first down. And on the very next play, Ritter, play action. Rolling to his right, throws for Drake London. He doesn't need to dive. It's a touchdown, Falcons. However, Green Bay and Aaron Jones, 2-yard touchdown run. 49-31, Green Bay wins this one. They go to 2-0, while Atlanta drops to 0-2. Green Bay gets the Saints next week, whereas Atlanta, like we said, goes to Detroit. From one hosting bird team to another, the Arizona Cardinals hosting the New York Giants, both teams 0-1. First quarter, Saquon Barkley fumbles the ball, but it's picked up by Darren Waller to secure it. That leads to Daniel Jones looking to his right and throwing for Isaiah Hodgins, an 11-yard touchdown throw, 7-0, Giants take the lead. Then, Giants get the ball back later. Jones breaks a few people trying to sack him and throws for Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton is pretty deep into Cardinals territory. I misspoke there, but that'll help set up this 6-yard touchdown run by Saquon Barkley. Then, Dobbs looking and throws over the middle. Xavier McKinney jumps up to intercept that ball. And that will lead to, it leads to Jones getting sacked by L.J. Collier at the end of the first quarter, but that's all right. It leads to this Graham Gano 28-yard field goal. It's 17-0 New York. Then, Dobbs, play action, looking and throws to his right for Hollywood Brown. No one near him. He jumps to get this one. 17-7 now. Giants still have the lead. But Jones says, hey, I can throw deep too. Throws deep for Isaiah Hodgins. Can he? Could he? Will he? Yes, he will! Touchdown, New York! It's 24-7. Then, Cardinals forced to punt. And Eric Gray fumbles it. And it's picked up by Paris Johnson, who gets the 18-yard scoop and scores, so it's 24-14. Jones dropping back, but L.J. Collier ready for him. 10-yard sack. They're forced to punt. Then, Dobbs throws to his left for Zach Ertz, instead finds Jason Pinnock, so the Giants get the ball back, and Gano is able to get a 25-yard field goal. It's 27-14 Giants. Then, on the ensuing kickoff return, Dortch is going to fumble this ball. It's going to get picked up by Jason Pinnock, and now it's his turn for the scoop and score. A 21-yard run. It's 34-14 at the half. Second half, Marquise Brown's going to get another touchdown. It's 34-21 now. But then Jones on the ensuing drive gets sacked by Kaiser White. They're forced to punt. Joshua Dobbs looks to his left, finds Michael Wilson, but he is able to avoid a tackle. Unfortunately, he's not able to get to the house. He's immediately caught up to. It's a 53-yard catch, though. Can't shy away from that. That leads to Dobbs throwing right to Rondale Moore. He gets the 15-yard touchdown. They cut the deficit to 28-34. And then Jones throws an interception to Budda Baker. So Josh Dobbs sets up a throw to James Conner. 27-yard touchdown. Cardinals now have the lead by 1, and Lecky Fotu gets a 7-yard sack on Daniel Jones, so the Giants are forced to punt. So James Conner able to punch it in from 6 yards out on the next drive, so the Cardinals get a turnover on downs on the Giants? What? That means they have the lead, and they're going to extend it to an 11-point lead off a Matt Prater 44-yard field goal. What is going on? It's 45-34, and L.J. Collier is going to sack Daniel Jones, but it's all right. Jones looking and fires for Saquon Barkley over the middle. Saquon Barkley! You cannot stop this man! 55-yard touchdown. Giants have trailing 45-41. Onside kick. No one on Arizona can get it. Giants recover. They still have life. They hand it off to Saquon. Saquon! Could he be the hero they need? No! And they run out of time. The Cardinals get the upset. 45-41. What an amazing game by Arizona. They are going to head to Dallas with good spirits. Giants, though, they have to head to San Francisco. Meanwhile, to another NFC East team, the Eagles hosting the Minnesota Vikings. First quarter, Alexander Mattison going to run this one in for 10 yards out. It's 7-0 Vikings. Eagles able to get a drive downfield, but unfortunately they have to settle for a 28-yard field goal by Jake Elliott. It's 7-3. They get the ball back later, and Marcus Mariota throws to his left for Devonta Smith, who makes it a 10-7 game. Then, on the ensuing kickoff, Ty Chandler, he's going to fumble the ball, but thankfully it's picked up by TJ Hawkinson. So that, unfortunately, Jalen Carter's going to get a 7-yard sack here to end the quarter. Second quarter, Alexander Mattison, 2-yard touchdown run. It's 14-10 Vikings. Then, on the Eagles' next drive, Mariota with the play action. Looks to his right and finds, who else? A.J. Brown, the difference maker for the Eagles last year, makes it a 17-14 game. Brandon Graham then gets a sack on Kirk Cousins. However, he's still able to get a drive down. And Josh Sweat gets a sack in the red zone. But Vikings will not be undeterred. A toss to Alexander Mattison, runs it in 12 yards. It's 21-17 at the half. Third quarter, Mariota, play action. Looking for an open man, but he gets found by Marcus Davenport first on a 10-yard sack. And then, next play, Marcus Davenport's at it again with another 10-yard sack. So they're forced to punt. Vikings. Cousins looks to his left and finds Justin Jefferson. A 38-yard touchdown. It's 28-17 Minnesota. On the next play, DeAndre Smith. Oh, the Vikings are quite familiar with him, and they will not allow him to score on them. He is taken down. He fumbles the ball. Harrison Smith's going to pick it up for Minnesota. How about this Vikings team going up against the reigning NFC champions and just having fun with them? They'll go down the field. Alexander Mattison punches it in from 3 yards out. It's 35-17. Eagles, do or die time right now in the fourth quarter. Handoff is to DeAndre Swift. He won't make the same mistake again. He dodges a tackle and gets in. It's 35-24. And the Eagles go for the onside kick. And they get the ball? Yes, they do. However, on the drive, Mariota sacked by Harrison Phillips. Next, Mariota looking for somebody. Fires to his left for Dallas Goedert. Goedert gonna dodge some tackles. Gonna break another tackle. Gonna dodge a final tackle as he gets in. It's 35-31. Vikes still have the lead though. And Cousins gets wrapped up by Jalen Carter. However, later on, Cousins, play action. Throws to his left for Justin Jefferson. The reigning offensive player of the year comes through. It's 42-31 Minnesota. Mariota, play action. Rolls to his right. Looking for A.J. Brown. Finds A.J. Brown. Can he? Could he? He won't get the touchdown, but he'll get a 52-yard catch. And then Mariota throws to his right for A.J. Brown again. Normally you're not supposed to do that, but it works for the 22-yard touchdown. It's 42-38. But the Vikings get a field goal and put it away. Vikings 45, Eagles 38. Minnesota will take on the Chargers next week at home. They're 2-0. The reigning NFC champs 0-2 as they head to Tampa Bay next week. So the NFC East hasn't had a repeat winner in over 20 years. Can the Cowboys try to dethrone the Eagles? Well, not if Aaron Rodgers comes back for the Jets. First drive for the Jets, though, Osa Odigizua will sack Aaron Rodgers. They're forced to punt. Then, Prescott looks over the middle and finds Tony Pollard, who dives in, and they say he's in for a touchdown. It's 7-0 Dallas. Then Rodgers gets sacked by Leighton Vander Esch, sent back 11 yards. And then it's Dorrance Armstrong's turn for a sack, sending him back 7 yards. Again, they punt. Then on the next punt that the Cowboys have to make, Tony Pollard will get the scoop and score off of Mecole Hardman Jr.'s fumble. Jonathan Hankins will then get his own sack, followed right up by Leighton Vander Esch again. They're just bullying poor Aaron Rodgers as the Jets are forced to punt. Second quarter, Tony Pollard's going to use his legs this time. A 19-yard touchdown run. It's 21-0 Dallas. Jets are able to get a drive going, but they have to rely on a Greg Zuerlein 32-yard field goal. It's 21-3. On the ensuing kickoff, Kevontae Turpin is hurt. So that means Rico Dowdle is going to be the return man for the Cowboys on kicks and punts. Thankfully for the Cowboys, they're able to get a drive going, and with a Tony Pollard 7-yard punch-in, they go up 28-3. Dangerous score, boys. Even Atlanta can tell you that. But Rodgers throws over to his left for Garrett Wilson, who was the offensive rookie of the year last year, and he gets a 62-yard reception. That'll lead to this Greg Zuerlein 30-yard field goal. It's 28-6. Third quarter, Rodgers throws for Wilson again to his left, and this time he scores. It's 28-13 now. Rico Dowdle on the ensuing kickoff. He's going to get to about the 45, and he is now hurt. And so Deuce Vaughn is going to come in to replace him. I apologize, this was actually on a punt return, not a kick return. Still, Vaughn's going to come in on kicks and punts. But the Cowboys able to get somewhat of a drive going as Brandon Aubrey, the former USFL kicker, 32-yard field goal. It's 31-13. Fourth quarter, Leighton Vander Esch gets to Rodgers, 11-yard sack. Fourth down, tosses to former Viking Dalvin Cook, and he can't get the first down. But Cowboys punt the ball back. Jets have a chance, and Rodgers overthrows Wilson. It's another turnover on downs. Prescott had enough of giving the Jets chances, just throws it for CeeDee Lamb, who scores. It's 38-13. And just to add insult to injury for Aaron Rodgers, Osa Odigizua is going to sack him for a safety. It's 40-13. Make that 47-13 on a 5-yard punch-in. Dalvin Cook, he wants to change the score. They will get a touchdown, but it doesn't matter. Cowboys win this one 47-20, and they head to Arizona next week at 2-0. The Jets had high hopes to start the season. They take on the Patriots at 0-2 next week. Well, the Panthers are currently in control of the NFC South, but the Saints, they want a taste of that pie. First quarter, Alvin Kamara, 3-yard touchdown run, puts the Saints up first 7-0. On the kick return, Raheem Blackshear is going to take this one 30 yards, but on the first play of the drive, Cameron Jordan is going to get to Bryce Young, an 8-yard sack. And then right after, Demario Davis is going to wrap him up and take him down for a 2-yard sack. But Young, able to get a drive going and throws to his right for Adam Thielen. Thielen's going to take this one from 39 yards out, but they tie up the game at 7. Saints get the ball, and Derek Carr sacked by Shy Tuttle to end the first quarter. Second quarter, literally the first play, another touchdown pass to Thielen. 24 yards out, Panthers take the 14-7 lead. Deshaun Williams then gets a sack on Derek Carr for 7 yards. But the Saints do eventually get a point from a Blake Group 52-yard field goal. It's 14-10 Panthers, though. But Raheem Blackshear is not dealing with the big kick returns. It's a 34-yarder this time. However, they can't do anything with it. So, on the Saints' next possession, Shaq Thompson gets a 10-yard sack. So, they punt the ball back. Bryce Young almost gets sacked. Instead, he finds DJ Chark for a 51-yard catch. Almost scores, but that's all right. He hands it off to Chuba Hubbard, who will get the touchdown and make it a 21-10 game. Then, Carr, in his own end zone, throws to his left for Chris Olave. Olave will not be able to get too far, but he will get into Panthers territory. However, a few plays later, Carr is going to get wrapped up and taken down by Deshaun Williams. So, to end the quarter, Carr, patient, looking, fires over to his right. It's Michael Thomas, who jumps and lands in the end zone. 21-17 going into halftime. Third quarter, Young throws for DJ Chark, who gets an amazing-looking 56-yard touchdown. They lead 28-17. Saints punt the ball back later on. So, Young says, second first, same as the first. Another pass to Chark. It's not a touchdown this time. It's just barely avoided a touchdown, but it is a 54-yarder that helps to set up this Jonathan Mingo touchdown in the back of the end zone. It's 35-17. Then, Carr tries to scramble forward. Derek Brown there to take him down. It's a 7-yard sack, but just hand it off to Alvin Kamara, and you get 35-24. But on the fourth quarter, Young, who he gets wrapped up by Demario Davis. So that'll mean the Panthers have to settle for an Eddie Pinheiro 33-yarder. It's 38-24 Panthers. Fourth down for the Saints. They are in desperation mode. Carr throws for Chris Olave. He's got the fourth down conversion. Can he get the score? No, he can't. but they still convert, and it allows Carr to throw for Rashid Shaheed. 8-yard touchdown. It's 38-31. Panthers do get an Eddie Pinheiro 38-yarder to extend their lead to 10. It's 41-31. So, Carr looking and fires for Rashid Shaheed over the middle. It's a 10-yard catch. That's enough for a first down. But Carr gets sacked by Derek Brown, and that's going to do it. Panthers will improve to 2-0 with a 41-31 victory over the Saints. Both teams go on the road next week. Carolina goes to Seattle, while New Orleans goes to Green Bay. Both of those expected to be good games. Meanwhile, another massive division rivalry, the 49ers and Rams. The 49ers get back Ray McCloud, who was hurt last week, on a return. First quarter, the Rams will strike first with a 41-yard field goal by Brett Maher, 3-0. However, the 49ers, Brock Purdy throws for Deebo Samuel. This man can do everything, including play quarterback, apparently. He gets a 49-yard touchdown. It's 7-3 San Francisco. Tyreen Williams will then get a 30-yard return on the kick, but they can't get anywhere with it. So, it's Purdy's chance to show off yet again. This time, throws for George Kittle, who breaks a tackle, and then breaks 3 or 4 more, apparently. And he will be stopped just short of it. That's all right. Christian McCaffrey just punches it in with a 1-yard catch. Still, 14-3 49ers. Matt Stafford fumbles the ball on a strip sack. Actually, I think he was ahead of the line of scrimmage. But Nick Bosa will pick it up. That lets Brock Purdy... Oh, never mind. Aaron Donald's going to get to a 9-yard sack. Can't forget about Aaron Donald. But a Christian McCaffrey run... You can't stop Christian McCaffrey when he's healthy. A 32-yard touchdown run. It's 21-3 San Francisco. Second quarter. Atwell. Tutu Atwell. He's going to take this one for a touchdown for the Rams. It's 21-10. Ray McCloud gets a kick return for this one. This one goes 31 yards. Not bad for his return game. But then... 49ers fans, look away from the screen right now. Aaron Donald not only sacks Brock Purdy 9 yards, but Brock Purdy is hurt. And who is their backup? Sam Darnold, the former Jet turned Panther. Now the backup. And he gets sacked by Ernest Brown, sent back 6. But don't worry, Fred Warner, he gets a sack on Matt Stafford when the Rams have the ball. But touchdown pass to Van Jefferson heals the wounds for the Rams. It's 21-17. 49ers still have the lead. Darnold tries to get a better look, but Ernest Jones wraps him up and takes him down. Well, Darnold still has some good arm. Throws for Christian McCaffrey, who was right there, a 13-yard touchdown. Matt Stafford gets wrapped up, but he avoids it. But then he fumbles the ball, thankfully secured by Tyler Higbee. That could have been close. Still, second quarter ends with the 49ers still in the lead. Third quarter, Ernest Brown, a 9-yard sack. That forces them to have to make a 36-yard field goal from Jake Moody, which they do, 31-17. However, Matthew Stafford, taken down by Fred Warner, 5 yards, so they forced a punt. Ray McCloud gets the punt return. He's going to get this into Rams territory, and then a little bit more, 35-yard punt return. On the ensuing drive, Sam Darnold runs with it, but he's strip-sacked, and it's recovered by Bobby Brown III. But, not to be outdone, Nick Bosa's going to get the strip sack on Matthew Stafford, and he's going to get into good position for the 49ers. That'll let Christian McCaffrey run this in from 36 yards out. It's 38-17. Nick Bosa is not done terrifying Matthew Stafford as he sacks him back 8 yards. That forces them to punt, and Christian McCaffrey gets the ball yet again. 14-yard touchdown run. It's 45-17 San Francisco. Fourth quarter. Arik Armstead, your turn to step up and get the sack. It's the Rams on fourth down. They look for Tyler Higbee, and they can't get Tyler Higbee. So it's a turnover on down. Sam Darnold, he's going to throw for Christian McCaffrey, who's going to make this touchdown 52-17. Then Stafford looking for Van Jefferson. He's going to find him on the left side, but he's going to fumble the ball, and it's going to get picked up by Talanoa Hufanga, and that will lead to this 23-yard touchdown run by Christian McCaffrey. So it's 59-17. Then Nick Bosa. Oh, looks like Matthew Stafford was the one seeing ghosts. As not only does Nick Bosa get to him, but so does Javon Hargrave for an 8-yarder. So, fourth down. Hand off to Cam Akers, who's just short of it. So the 49ers going to come away with the win on this one. Darnold gets sacked by Donald on this one, a 9-yard sack. Jake Moody, 28-yard field goal, just adds on to the points. 62-17. San Francisco real happy with this one. They go up to 2-0. They take on the Giants next week. The Rams drop to 0-2. They got to go to Cincinnati for our game of the week next week here on SVGN. Bills, meanwhile, they have to take on a tough match in the Las Vegas Raiders. They get Stephon Diggs back, which is good because they need him. Especially when, on the first drive, the kickoff return gets fumbled and recovered by the Bills' Matt Milano. And that leads to Josh Allen escaping pressure and throwing for Stephon Diggs. 7-0. Bills get the lead on this one to start. However, Jimmy Garoppolo, you can't doubt him. A nice throw to Austin Hooper. Can he? Could he? Will he? He won't. But 54 yards, not bad. And that leads to this Josh Jacobs run, 13-yard run. It's tied up all at 7. Josh Allen dropping back, throws for Stephon Diggs, but he finds Marcus Epps of the Raiders. That is not something you want if you are Buffalo. So, Garoppolo rolls to his left, throws for Devontae Adams, who's deep in the end zone, dives for it. They take the 14-7 lead. Then, hand off to James Cook. You know, he may not be the most famous Cook in the AFC East, but he is still a great runner. A 43-yard run. Bills in the end in the red zone later on. Allen tries to roll to his right. He fumbles the ball. It's picked up by the Raiders. Max Crosby. So that leads to Garoppolo. Play action pass. Has a little bit of pressure, but just looks for Devontae and finds him, the former Packer. He's going to take this one 59 yards, but not for a touchdown. That's all right. Don't worry, Garoppolo's got plenty of weapons as he looks and finds Jacoby Myers, the former Patriot from a former Patriot. Second quarter, Tyler Bass will kick this one from 54 yards. Doinks it in, so they mitigate the damage to 21-10. Raiders still have the lead, though. Garoppolo, play action, rolls to his left, throws for Devontae Adams. This man is easily Garoppolo's favorite target right now. Why wouldn't he be? He was the favorite target for Green Bay when Aaron Rodgers was there. That leads to this Austin Hooper 14-yard catch. It's 28-10 Raiders. Josh Allen gets scooped up and taken down by Bilal Nichols, an 8-yard sack. But later on in the drive, Allen, play action, rolls to his right, throws for Stephon Diggs. They're going to have a comeback. He's going to make it happen. It's 28-17. Then Ed Oliver gets to Garoppolo on a 7-yard sack. It's a safety, so it's 28-19. Allen dropping back, looking for an open man. He finds... Oh my goodness gracious. It is Davis who gets this one, and he is going to score. And he's not score. I apologize. He gets stopped early. It's a 58-yard catch, though, from Gabe Davis. And James Cook's just going to run this in from 12 yards out. 28-26. Bills still trail, though. But Ed Oliver going to try and stop the Raiders with an 8-yard sack, and they do. Third quarter. Allen dropping back, looking for an open man, but he gets found by Bilal Nichols, an 8-yard sack, so they're forced to punt. They're still down by 2. Garoppolo throws for Adams. He dives in. Raiders touchdown. It's 35-26, but Josh Allen says, I'm going to run this in myself. And he does. 35-33. Bills still down by 2. But Garoppolo, he's going to get dove at by Greg Russo until he sacks him. Fourth quarter, Allen rolls to his left, throws to his right. You don't do that unless you are Josh Allen, who throws to the rookie Dalton Kincaid. He's going to get stopped short of scoring. Allen avoids danger, runs it in himself. 40-35. The Raiders going to take this one out. DeAndre Carter, he's going to help the Raiders try to get back the lead that they just lost. He wants to make sure this Bills comeback doesn't happen. A 45-yard kick return. That leads to Garoppolo. Play action. Looking and firing for Devontae Adams. He's not going to be stopped. It's 42-40. Raiders. Tyler Bass in the Raiders territory. Not much time left, but he misses it wide right. Bills fans hate those two words with a passion. But Ed Oliver gets the sack on Garoppolo. Tyler Bass gets the 34-yard field goal. He does. It's 43-42. Bills only lead by 1, but the Raiders still have a chance. 41 seconds left. Garoppolo rolls to his left. He throws for Devontae Adams. Adams, will he score? He gets avoiding a tackle, and he gets stopped at about the 11, and time is up. The Buffalo Bills complete the comeback, 43-42. Buffalo's going to go to 2-0. Las Vegas, hard-fought game. They go to 1-1. They get to play Pittsburgh next week. Buffalo heads to Washington. And our final game of the week, the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars in a playoff rematch. First quarter, Christian Kirk, he's going to take this one 52 yards. Not a score, though, but that's all right. It lead to this field goal by Brandon McManus. Love that guy's name, and I love this 50-yard field goal to put the Jags up first, 3-0. Then Mahomes looks to his left for Kadarius Toney. They hooked up all week last week. I'm sure they're going to hook up a bunch this week. A 54-yard catch, and that'll lead to this 7-yard touchdown run by Isaiah Pacheco. So now the Chiefs take a 7-3 lead. Then Lawrence can get wrapped up and sacked by Jalen Watson, sent back 8 yards. Then Charles Omenihu is going to sack him back 7 yards. So they're forced to punt. But they get the ball back in the second quarter. Jalen Watson will get an 8-yard sack. They're forced to punt again. Then Richie James is hurt. An 8-yard punt return from the Jaguars makes him hurt. And Jerick McKinnon is going to come in on kick returns and punt returns. Then Mahomes gets wrapped up by Roy Robertson, sent back 6 yards. Next play, he's wrapped up by Roy Robertson, a 4-yard sack. So they punt the ball back. Lawrence dropping back, but it's his turn to get sacked. Defense was the name of the game today as Jalen Watson gets the 3-yard sack on this one. Lawrence then gets wrapped up by Chris Jones for an 8-yard sack. They are able to drive down enough of the field for a Brandon McManus 33-yard field goal. So now the Jaguars mitigated to a 1-point game. Chiefs punt the ball back later, and Lawrence connects with Calvin Ridley, the guy he was hooking up with all week last week. A 70-yard catch, gets to the 2, and that'll set up this 2-yard touchdown run by Travis Etienne. It's 13-7, Jags to go into the second half. Jerick McKinnon is going to take this one for the literal first play, 31 yards. However, they're forced to punt, and Tank Bigsby is now hurt. Jaguars were already down a running back / returner when Agnew got hurt last week, so now JaMychal Hasty's going to come in on those. Then Charles Omenihu is going to sack Trevor Lawrence. Later on, Jalen Watson is going to sack Trevor Lawrence, but it's okay because a Brandon McManus field goal makes it a 9-point game. A 43-yard field goal, it's 16-7 Jaguars. Then Mahomes, play action, rolls to his left. We know this play from last week. Throw to Kadarius Toney. He is deep. There is no one around him. He is going to score. Or is he? He stopped just short. That's all right. Isaiah Pacheco will do the rest. After that 72-yard catch, a 2-yard touchdown run from Isaiah Pacheco looks simple, but it's still 16-14. Then JaMychal Hasty. Now he's hurt. They have no more backup running backs, so they have to go to a backup wide receiver. It's Tim Jones. So if Travis Etienne gets hurt, they might be in trouble. Then Jalen Watson is going to get to Trevor Lawrence on the very first play from scrimmage. Very next play after that, Lawrence dropping back, looking. He's going to try and get better angle. He's going to get wrapped up by Jalen Watson. Oh no. Oh, he is down. Trevor Lawrence, the supposed savior of the Jaguars, is hurt. And C.J. Beathard is going to have to come in to replace him. The very next play, Beathard looks to his left, throws for Calvin Ridley, but he overshoots him. It goes right into the hands of Justin Reed. The Jaguars still have a 2-point lead. Maybe they can do something with it. Mahomes looking, throws for Travis Kelce. He is going to fumble the ball. It's picked up by Foley Fatukasi. The Jaguars have life still, but they punt the ball. Chiefs won't make the same mistake twice. Travis Kelce is going to take this one, a 15-yard touchdown. It's 21-16. Chiefs have their second lead of the game. Beathard is going to get wrapped up by Charles Omenihu back 5 yards. Then Beathard hands off to Travis Etienne. Etienne is going to be tackled. And now it's panic time. Even more so than before. Travis Etienne is hurt on this 9-yard run that was short of a first down. So Tim Jones has to replace him on this one. So Beathard decides, let's pass it for Tim Jones. Instead, it goes to L'Jarius Sneed. He's going to break 3 tackles. 3 tackles. A dive for another one. He's going to avoid that. Only one person can stop him, but it doesn't matter. A 79-yard pick six. And then a Willie Gay 8-yard sack. This game is pretty much over. Or is it? Beathard looking to his right. Looking for Calvin Ridley. He finds him on his left, actually. My bad. And he gets him. 28-23. Chiefs, though, if they can get a score, they can put this away because the Jaguars didn't get the onside kick. Mahomes looks for Kadarius Toney. Chiefs win this one, 35-23. Jaguars, I would be very concerned about next week as they head to Houston. Maybe that Houston team will be easy enough for them they can heal up. But the Chiefs, they're looking pretty good. Both teams at 1-1. Jaguars more injured, though. Chiefs get Chicago next week. And now it's time for the offensive and defensive players of the week for each conference. For the NFC, the offensive player of the week, Amon-Ra St. Brown. St. Brown had 5 receptions, totaling 229 yards, which averaged 45.8 yards per catch, and had 3 touchdowns in the Lions' win over the Seahawks this week. For the defensive player of the week, Nick Bosa, who has 2 sacks and 2 fumble recoveries. Honestly, it was difficult finding somebody to represent the NFC for Defensive Player of the Week, but I think he did a pretty good job. For the AFC, meanwhile, the Offensive Player of the Week, Nick Chubb. Chubb had 17 carries for 103 yards. That's averaging over 6 yards per carry. He had 6 touchdowns, and he also had a reception for 44 yards. Meanwhile, the Defensive Player of the Week, Eric Kendricks, who sacked Ryan Tannehill 5 times, not to mention had countless tackles in the Chargers' win over the Titans. And that's our show for this week. Once again, I'd like to thank you for tuning in for Tecmo Rewind, and we'll see you later this week on Thursday for the SVGN Sports Video Game Network Game of the Week between the Los Angeles Rams and the Cincinnati Bengals. Until then, I'm Joe signing off saying good night, everybody.